What's going on, everybody? How are we doing today? What's going on? Chad's in the house. It is cold here in Indiana. I'm telling you what, we are on our way downtown. I saw this pop up and I'm going to run down here real quick. It's a quick protest that they're having down here at the courthouse. Uh, one of the churches here, which is pretty much a woke church, is having a protest for a gentleman that was convicted of killing family members and friends of his family. He was also uh, involved in the killing of his parents earlier, and he is being put to death. And this church is trying to stop that with Governor Holcomb because they're claiming that his uh, constitutional rights are being taken advantage of because they're claiming that he suffers from schizophrenia. So his name is Joseph Cochran, I think is Cochran, but they're claiming that he should not be sentenced to death for the killing of multiple people, family members, and friends of family members. He killed I believe it was his sister, his brother-in-law, and two of their friends, and he was also involved with the killing of his parents earlier. I saw it pop up in a news feed. It started at 12, but I wanted to run down there real quick uh, to see what is going on. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Yep, Jody has the link in there if you guys want to look it up. It is cold, and last night I did not sit out and hand out toys because we had temperatures of 9 degrees with 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and it was just the weather was just terrible. So I am hoping to be out there tonight. We'll see what happens. But it was very, very cold yesterday. Yeah, I got my tripod. So I can make sure I have my tripod in the car. I had a phone call, so hopefully you guys can hear me now. Just let me know that you can hear. Julius's Tamara Roots in there. All right, good. You guys can hear. Yes, I had a phone call, work related, so I had to accept it real quick. What is this guy doing? Get over. Yeah, that's why you couldn't hear anything, is because I had a phone call. Well, we'll see how many people are down here. I don't know how many people are going to be. It's a church. I looked up the church. From the pictures that I just seen on the church, it was definitely a woke church. They had a sign. They had a park bench that was rainbow that said "All is welcome." So that ought to tell you right there. What's up, Donna, Ralph? I gotta send Jody a text real quick. I had a phone call from my boss. Send her a text. Yep, Jody just put the link up of the church. You guys can look it up and take a look at some of the pictures. I don't know how many people are even going to be out here. There's a few, not too many though. Let's see here. No parking there. Should be able to pull up here somewhere. Let's see. There we go. Like a glove. Alright, get you guys in the tripod here. It is cold. I gotta turn on my battery jacket. Gloves on. So this is a protest. They're down here protesting a person that is being sentenced to death for killing his sister, his brother-in-law, two of their friends, and the parents. What's going on, Doss? So he is being sentenced to death. They're trying to stop it. They want to bring awareness to it. Governor Holcomb. As you can see, the execution is this week. So did the jury find him guilty of his parents as well as the sister and brother-in-law? That's what I don't know about the parents, but I do know.
Call the governor. Email the governor. No execution of the mentally ill.
Was that brought up during his trial? Now there's other people that are down here. Good morning.
Or afternoon.
Well, yeah, afternoon now, yes.
Fairly chilly.
These are not the same people that are down here on Tuesday. This is a church, local church here. So can somebody give me like a brief history of what's going on with what happened with this gentleman?
I think the lady in the long blue coat down there, she's the organizer of the event.
She's the organizer? Awesome, thank you. So they tell me you're the organizer of this?
Yeah, for 20-some years.
Can you answer me a couple, like
Yes.
a brief history of the background of this story, of it?
Anything you want. Although I might stop trying and have to wait.
So I just seen what the news has put out there. That's all I know about it. So can you give me a brief history of the story of why we're here today?
Yeah, Doug Walker was arrested. And from what the news said, he was upstairs and he heard voices and they said that...
Can you speak up a little bit, or let's step away from the...
Still in the sun. From what I've read a lot of the news stories, and from what I've read, Joe was upstairs in his house on 4th Street, I think, and he heard voices and he thought that the four downstairs were talking about him, his brother, his sister's fiance, and their 2 sons. So he got his niece, put her in a room and told her not to open the door. And he went downstairs and shot them all, a minute. And
His sister, the brother-in-law, and it was
no,
two...
his sister wasn't there. It was just his niece was upstairs, and his brother and his sister's fiance.
Oh, his sister's fiance.
And their 2 friends.
And their 2
downstairs.
friends.
And he just mowed them down, and because he heard the voice, you know. And I started digging around a little bit. We have a Heal the Land service. Associated Churches has a Peace and Justice Commission where we go to the site of all the murders. So we went to the site of the murder, and his neighbor said that if you walk by his house, the kitchen table is just full of weapons, and they're all afraid of Joe, you know. And I talked to a friend of mine who was in the military with his dad, and he said his dad loved guns, and he taught Joe a lot of stuff, and then he died, and Joe got the guns. And
now, had he been diagnosed as being schizophrenic any time prior to that?
So. I don't think so. Because, yeah, I don't think so. And then at the trial, his lawyers had trouble. I'm a lawyer, I'm retired, and his lawyers had trouble having him assist with his own defense because he's schizophrenic. And I was so angry at Judge Gold because there were 3 psychiatrists that evaluated him to see if he could stand trial, and one of them said no and the other 2 said yes, and she went with the 2, not the defense witness, the psychiatrist. And I was just mad. I mean, anyway, so I wrote an op-ed piece in the Journal Gazette, and I challenged her decision. And since that time, the Supreme Court and the appellate courts, federal, have really agreed with me. The Constitution 8th Amendment says no cruel and unusual punishment. And the courts have been saying executing schizophrenics, that's a cruel and unusual punishment. So Kentucky and Ohio agreed with that, and they will not execute them. And every other state around us doesn't have execution at all. We're the only state in this region that plans to execute someone who's...
I seen that they mentioned something about his parents. Was he involved in the death of his parents as well?
He doesn't think so.
He doesn't think so.
Yeah.
What did the courts have to say about that?
He was found not guilty.
He was found not
and
guilty?
His sister and family were all there at the courthouse celebrating that he was found not guilty. And they all lived together because after his parents died, and his sister was his guardian. And they moved to Fort Wayne, I think it was 4th Street. I think they wanted a fresh start, or some of their friends or somebody lived here in Fort Wayne. So they all moved here, the whole family, her daughter, his brother, sister. But he doesn't remember, he doesn't believe he killed his parents. He doesn't remember anything about it. And he was found not guilty, so I guess we'll have to go with that. But the judge, the defense accused the judge of thinking about that when she sentenced him to death. And that's illegal. That violates the law. So the Court of Appeals, I just read the case, the Court of Appeals said, did you consider this factor when you sentenced him? And she said, no, I didn't. And they said, well, we have no evidence against that. So I don't know whether she was affected by the other or not, but his sister and his brother were celebrating when he was found not guilty of that. Then his brother died. But it's a really sad situation.
What does the family think about this? What's happening?
Corinne at your station has been trying to talk to family members. There was a family member of one of the friends that got killed, and it was a story on your station that talked about it. But the mother, during the trial, the mother gave Joe what do you call it, a scribe Bible with his name on it, and told him she hoped he could find comfort and that she's forgiven him. And that really affected the prosecutor. He was almost crying, he was just, he said, well, this is what we have to do. But the governor said, I want to hear, I want people to say what they want to do. We haven't had an execution for 15 years. And now they found the correct shot to give him from the federal penitentiary up in Northwest India. So they're going to use that, and the day they approved it, it's the day they set up the execution. At 8, I think, on death row, and they set up Joe's because his is the oldest. He's been there forever,
So you don't know what the majority of the family thinks, or if they're opposed this or for this?
Corinne's been trying to talk to them, but just the one deceased mother is the only one that's forgiven him, I think, as far as I know.
What is the friends that were friends of the fiance and stuff, what do their families think?
That's who I'm talking
Oh,
about.
that's who you're talking about. But that Joseph, his family is, or
They're not giving interviews.
brother-in-law. Is it the brother-in-law? Is that what you said, the fiance?
The fiance of his sister was killed. Yeah.
So the government is going to go ahead, and when is this taking place?
Before sunrise on December 18th.
Before sunrise on December 18th.
Yeah, we don't have much time. And there are two things going on simultaneously. One is his attorney's filing a motion for clemency so that he's life in prison instead of the execution. And my church has been working really hard on that. We got a lot of people here from my church.
And what is if not death penalty, then what is the proper punishment for
life in prison?
Life in prison?
Yeah, that's what they do in the other two states, Kentucky and Ohio. But
so obviously you're opposed to the death penalty.
well, my church is opposed to the death penalty. We came out in the 80s with a statement against the death penalty because of our religious beliefs. It just doesn't comply with the Bible. So,
What church is that?
Beacon Heights Church of the Brethren. We gave your news team a whole bunch of paper about it.
Well, I'm independent. I'm not part of 21 Alive or any of those.
You're independent?
I'm independent.
Wow.
So I seen it, and I wanted to come down here and talk with a couple of people.
Well, I'm glad you came. I misunderstood. I thought you knew all that.
You know, I wanted to hear what your side, what your
But
viewpoints.
I would love to talk to his sister about it, but she doesn't want to. And she's got the right to not talk about it. She lost her parents. She lost her fiance. I mean, she lost her brother. It's really hard.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking the time, and thank you for a little bit of the backstory and the history on it. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that, and good luck to you.
Thank you. What's your name?
Matt.
Thank you
Yep.
so much.
Yep. Set you guys down here for just a second. They're down here. Their church does not believe it's a church of the brethren. They don't believe in death penalty, and they're trying to stop this from happening. I felt like she was kind of vague on some of the statements, but I did want to let them have their opinion, their First Amendment right to express what they were thinking. It is cold out, guys. My battery on my heated jacket went out. I might have to find that other charger for it. Yeah, she does. I agree with that, Jaylen. And she was the one who organized this down here. The 18th is by would she say sunrise or sunset of the 18th is when it's going to take place. So you think somebody that has that's down here that's down here would have had a little bit more of the facts. I'm independent.
Independent?
Yes.
Oh, good.
I'm independent. I just wanted to come down here and see what this was about. I seen it pop up on a news feed, so I figured I'd come down here and listen to other people's stories about what their thoughts are on this. So you obviously are you with the church?
Not with their church, but I was from a church out by Silver Lake, Indiana.
Silver Lake. So what do you think his punishment should be? Obviously, a jury of his peers found him guilty, and a sentence was conducted. What do you think?
Well, I don't believe in the death penalty because I don't think we should kill people. He has mental issues, as does my sister. My sister has schizophrenia. Right now she's in a space where she's safe and other people that might be interacted by her are safe.
Did the family know of his schizophrenia
I don't
leading up to
know.
this?
I don't know enough about his history. I don't know that.
So that's the question that I would want to know, is if the family had knowledge of his schizophrenia leading up to this, why would they have a table full of weapons?
Oh yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
If you know somebody in your household is dealing with schizophrenia or multiple personality disorders, you obviously would not want to keep,
guns
and stuff inside of them or not locked up. That's why I was just kind of questioning that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't have guns, so I don't.
Right. Well, everybody has a constitutional right to it. I mean, we were born with our constitutional rights.
I have a constitutional right not to have one, too.
Yep, you absolutely do. And that you absolutely do. So do you think life in prison?
I think probably a place where he could get some kind of medication, care, loving.
Should he stay in prison, though, for the rest of his life for the killings?
Does he even know he did it? I don't know. I don't know enough about him and his case. And I think he should be in a space where he can't hurt other people. I don't think it should be, if he doesn't even know he did it, it shouldn't be some kind of punishment.
Does he
But I
know
think I don't know if he knows what he did. That's
because there are some criminals that will use that as a defense to get themselves
to get an easier sentence.
And defense attorneys are smart. They'll use that. They'll use anything, kind of leverage that to their position to get a favorable sentence. But obviously, a jury and a judge didn't see it that way.
I assume if did he have schizophrenia? Was that what it was?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. It's schizophrenia.
I assume he'd have some kind of medical record then for that. How would his doctor say he should be treated, cared for?
Because he had enough sense to put the niece in a bedroom and to shut the door and tell the niece not to come out.
So he had some awareness.
So he had some knowledge. So does that constitute as like premeditated? That's where I think a lot of the courts, when they start divulging into cases like that and they start reading, the case study and stuff like that, and they see the actions leading up to the actual killing, is where I think a lot of the jury starts to look at those types of things.
Yeah. And then, did they have access to all that information?
Right.
Did he have a court-appointed attorney? He gets so cold I can't even talk.
Yeah, it's cold. It's cold. Yeah, I mean, you don't know those types of things. Typically, when you're dealing with a high-profile case or a case that's going to end up being high profile, they'll give you the better of the court appointed attorneys just for the simple fact they want to make sure that whatever they're,
Yes, valid defense.
they're doing, they can't use that they had a bad attorney as their defense.
Yeah. I know Bob, who's in the tan, has worked with death row people all across the country, and often death row people didn't have a good attorney, and their attorneys didn't.
Oh, I'm not going to say there's not bad attorneys. I'm not even going to justify that at all because there is.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying I know.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad attorneys out there.
But
and there is people that have been sentenced to prison that are obviously innocent.
and they sometimes after 20 years or so they say, "Oh, it's clear." I used to visit somebody on death row, and he got an appeal here in Indiana, and was freed on that appeal because his case was a racist kind of case, and so.
What do you think the outcome's going to be? Do you think they're going to? You think Governor Holcomb will give him the clemency, or do you think he's going to go ahead and sign off on the paperwork?
I think our society in these days our society needs to think about ways to promote goodness. And sometimes goodness comes when it comes in unexpected ways. I think it's at its best. When it comes at times that you don't expect goodness.
What do you mean by that?
Goodness?
I mean,
our society needs goodness.
What kind of, you're dealing obviously with a person who is found guilty of killing 4 people. Those families are never going to be the same because of it. Does goodness help that family?
I think so, because mercy, grace.
What about accountability?
I think accountability makes sense when people make logical decisions. I'm not clear who made a logical decision.
With my experience, I feel like there's not been any accountability for a majority of things that have happened in this country. There's been a lack of accountability, which gives it more of a justification to keep doing a behavior. And I think that when accountability is upheld, it deters other people from committing the same types of acts.
I think sometimes you're right. I'm not sure it's always true. But, and I guess I do it from a faith perspective. It's sort of like random acts of kindness, like somebody drives through a toll booth and pays for the next person behind them or something, or I pass out cookies on a.
So did you not know that he had shut his niece in a bedroom before he actually went?
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, he actually had taken his niece, put her in a bedroom, shut the door and told her not to come out, and then he went downstairs and shut her.
I mean, he has some awareness. I mean, from that you assume he has some awareness of what is happening.
Well, I appreciate your time. And
Well,
try and stay warm. Try and stay warm.
You too.
I'm warming up right now. I'll get used to it. You too. When the wind isn't blowing, it's not too bad, but when the wind blows, it gets pretty bad. Good morning or afternoon. So what do you think the outcome of this should be?
Well, I think I'm opposed to the death penalty in all cases, but I think that certainly, if someone has done a heinous crime, they must be locked away. And if they have mental illness, work on that. But it doesn't really help anything to kill another person. I don't see that that's helpful to our society.
So you think he should be put in prison for the rest of his life without
Yeah.
any parole?
Yeah.
And then, you'll have people that'll sit there and say that now the taxpayers are going to pay for this criminal for the rest of his life.
Yeah. Well, it's true.
And then you'll have people that'll be wanting to know, is that fair to the taxpayers that we got to pay for the cost of a person who was sentenced to death for the rest of our lives, for the rest of his or her life that's on death or in prison for the rest of their lives.
They say that the cost of going through the process of trying to get death penalty usually takes years. That there's an awful lot of expense involved there that isn't just ordinary enforcement.
So do you think the
I don't know
jury
how
got
much
it
it
wrong?
is, but I still don't think.
So do you think that the jury and the judge got it wrong in this case, as far as the sentencing?
I don't know much about this specific case, so can't really speak to that.
Because a lot of people will say that, will claim that he premeditated it because of the fact that he took his niece and he put her in a bedroom and he shut the door and he told her niece to not come out of the bedroom and then he went downstairs and killed these people.
Yeah, it was a horrible thing.
How about that? Wow, novel thought. No killing. Wow, that's extreme, isn't it?
What is it?
That's extreme, saying no killing. What you thinking? Wow. I mean, that's kind of radical, isn't it?
Well,
No
that's
killing?
what they mean by that exactly, but yeah.
Especially like somebody who has brain health issues. Oh, wow. Let's kill them. Let's get rid of them. Yeah, that's a Nazi thing, isn't it? Get rid of the disabled people? Yeah, let's do that.
Sounds quite a bit.
It worked in the Nazi time with Hitler. It could work in the Trump time now.
So you're blaming Trump for this?
I'm blaming people who are heartless. That's who I'm blaming. Yeah,
What do you mean heartless?
heart
Explain that.
without a heart. Yeah.
So the jury, you're claiming the jury in this case didn't have a heart?
I'm saying people who want to execute somebody who has brain health issues, that is lacking a bit of heart, in my opinion.
In
In
your
my
opinion.
humble opinion
But you said,
of 71 years.
let me ask you
Yeah.
something. You said something about Trump. What do you mean by that?
You can make your own conclusion about that. Things come from the top down and give permission out here.
Trump wasn't even president.
That's okay. He's still speaking. Haha.
He's
So
still-
don't be.
he's still-
Please don't be ignorant. Please.
I'm not being ignorant. I'm asking you a question.
And I answered you.
You might want to put some socks on. I'm worried about your toes.
Thank you. I'm worried about them too. Thank you. And
And
I'm worried about what you're doing.
you might want to change your clothes.
And you might too.
I didn't pee myself.
Thank you. Yeah. You're a good observation of people, aren't you?
Hi, I'm independent. I'm not with anybody. I'm just live streaming it on Rumble and YouTube right now.
What's your name?
Matt.
Matt.
Yep. First Amendment Media. She said something and then she brought up Trump's name into it. And I'm like, what does Trump have to do with this? And Trump wasn't even president when this. Yes, definitely TDS.
And I'm the most liberal guy in the world, but I don't.
You're the what?
I'm the most liberal guy in the world,
You're the
but
most liberal guy in the
but
world.
I don't like the Trump, the TDS. Thanksgiving with my family, it was like the worst. Everybody's on my side, but it was like I can't take it. 51% of the people in the world are not idiots. they're
No, everybody has a right to vote for who they want to.
And I respect people's opinions. I like if I go to a
Yeah.
bar, I talk to somebody. Why did you vote this way? I'm interested. But my in-laws, they never talked. I ask them, have you talked to anybody that has an opposite opinion from you? And they say no. And it's like,
Well, I appreciate you for that because I've had many discussions with people. I think too many people in this election didn't vote on policy. They vote on the feelings that the media throws at them. And if people quit voting on feelings, vote on policy.
I tried. My sister-in-law watches MSNBC seriously 22 hours a day. She can
sorry
talk.
for that.
I know.
I'm sorry about that.
Whatever. I seek out other people's opinions. I want to know. I learn more from listening to the other people than myself. Preaching to the choir gets you in trouble.
Yeah. So obviously you voted for Kamala then, being a liberal.
Yeah, I held my nose and voted. Actually, I went to the steak grill and had like 4 beers. Then I went and voted.
Some people might say you need to go get some, if you had to do all of that just to go vote.
I know, it was bad.
If it was pulling at you that bad, maybe you, I don't know, maybe you should have voted the other way then.
Or voted in, Donald Duck or something, which I have in the past, but.
Yeah, everybody can have discussions and you can agree to disagree and you can shake hands and walk away.
Which I love doing. I'm excited. I was at the store, a black gentleman had a Trump hat on, and I said, "Excuse me, sir, why, what are your reasons for voting this way?" And he had his reasons. I don't agree with them, but they're good reasons.
I voted for Trump because of policy. I don't agree with everything he says all the time. Sometimes he needs to close his mouth, but his policies worked. And it was a simple question: was I better off 4 years ago than I was this current administration? The answer is absolutely hell yes.
Better off with a pandemic that killed 1 million people?
What's that?
You're better off with the pandemic that lived 1 million people dead?
What about the 10 million illegals that have killed millions of people?
They haven't.
I spent a week at the border in southern San Diego. I watched the illegal immigrants come across the border.
And your family is from?
Here.
How did they come here?
They came here legally.
They're Native Americans? No.
No. They're Italian and German.
And
they came here legally. There's a big difference.
There's no difference.
There is a big difference.
Any white person in that era, welcome aboard.
They came in through Ellis Island. It's documented.
Doesn't matter.
That's legal.
If you're a white person, come on aboard. How did Melania come over here?
She came over here and she ended up being legal.
We needed porn stars, so you can come here, Melania.
We needed porn stars.
We're out of porn stars.
You don't think LA is full of porn stars?
Why'd she come? There should be a limit on porn stars. Leave Melania back home where she belongs.
I mean, there's a big difference between legal and illegal. And there's
no
a big
difference
difference when these illegals come in and they dump every single piece of identification on the border. And then you have NGOs that support the transportation of them through the states.
I do. So you're picking avocados, I assume, in California this
No,
summer.
you know what my theory on that is? Here's my theory on the whole, because everybody wants to throw up the avocado and the fruits and the vegetables. Here's my theory. You take the prisoners that are in jail, whether they're serving a 20-year sentence or a 25-year sentence. You take those prisoners and say, listen, we're going to let you go work these fields and earn time off of your prison sentences, along with making some money, so when you do get out of prison, you have money and don't rely on the state to fund you to get you an apartment or whatever. That's my theory. Let the prisoners go out and work the fields and earn time off of their sentences for like the non-violent criminals, I think that was a great idea.
State-owned prisons and corporate prisons owned by the...
Huh?
Incorporated prisons owned by the rich corporations that are 90%, that are highly racially biased and...
Well, I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not naive enough to say that, but I am educated enough to know what happens on the border. I mean, you got 300,000 children that are unaccounted for. Where are they at?
Come to the Steak Grill sometime, and we'll have this conversation there.
Awesome.
You ever been there?
Steak Grill. Where's that at?
State and Crescent.
State and Crescent.
The best bar in Fort Wayne.
Best bar in Fort Wayne.
$2.50 PBRs.
There you go. That helps right there. All right, guys. sun's going back behind the buildings here. Being
Yeah, I was like, she literally was in flip-flops. The temperature out here, it says 26, but it feels like probably single digits. And she literally was in flip-flops and had pissed herself. Now that's somebody that's got some serious issues right there. Yeah, it's like 26 degrees outside right now, and the wind chill is probably down into the low teens. Feels like 16. Yeah, Jody, it's cold out there. I'm not too sure about tonight if it's going to be. We'll have to see what the wind is doing. Whew. Wait for traffic here. And see, and that's the one thing that when I was talking to those people, a lot of them didn't know anything about the case. It was all about the death penalty part, and that's okay. I mean, they're allowed to be for or against death penalty, and that's what they believe in. But you heard the woman say that he put the niece in her room, and then he went downstairs and killed those people. So I don't know about you, but to me that screams a little bit of premeditation, that he had enough mindset that he wanted to protect the niece. Big long line outside Coney Island Hot Dog waiting to get in. If you're on Rumble, welcome in on Rumble. I do not get to see the chat on Rumble, but I do see the chat on YouTube. So if you're on Rumble, welcome in. Make sure you guys hit the thumbs up and share this out. It was just a quick stream to show that these people were down here for this person that was found guilty by a court of his peers for the killing of 4 people. They're using the 8th Amendment as their cause. You've seen what happens when you bring up the family. A lot of times they don't want to talk about what the family of the victims, because to them that doesn't matter a whole lot. They're all on the, but a lot of them believe that he should spend the rest of his life in prison so that you and I can pay for it for the rest of our lives. Our W's in the chat causing troubles. That guy offered me to come down to that bar and have a Pabst Blue Ribbon. I don't know about that. He did have a Hamm's beer hat on. Ridgeline, I will be getting something mailed out to you on Monday. I got to go drop it off. I will be getting that mailed out to you Monday. I have not forgotten about you. Jody reminded me, and I will be taking that over Monday and getting that taken care of. So make sure you check your mailbox. Woo-wee. My hands are finally warming up. Quite a few people downtown. I know one thing, I've been eating leftovers for the past couple days. Today we're gonna make hamburgers. I gotta have some. I've been eating turkey solid. I smoked a 17-pound turkey on the grill, got up at 2 in the morning and put that on, and then got back up at 8, and we stuffed a 21-pound turkey and roasted it. So we had a lot of turkey meat. Everybody went home with a bag of turkey to chomp down on for the next couple days. I will be bringing you guys, if I go out tonight, I'll have the live set up outside. I'm going to watch the weather. They were talking 30-mile-an-hour winds, which last night I had to take one of the inflatables down because the wind kept blowing it so hard. It kept knocking it down, but I'll keep an eye on the weather to see what the wind is going to do today. If not, I might, tomorrow night, Jody and I, we might go live to show you the Christmas display, to walk you through it and show you everything. I spent last night wrapping presents. I'm going to go home and wrap some more gifts that you guys have helped with your donations. Don't forget, we are still collecting for the veterans. If you guys would like to help out with Shepherd's House, Jody, if you can put the link up. If you can put the link up for our donations for Shepherd's House. We're still collecting for our veterans for Shepherd's House, and we're also still collecting for our veteran that we adopted this year. So if you want to donate for the veteran that we adopted this year, make sure you put in the notes MVET. So put in MVET for the veteran, and if you want to donate for Shepherd's House, just mark it for Shepherd's House. We will take you guys shopping after Christmas when we go do our shopping for the veterans, and we'll take you along with that. And also when we go drop it off, I cannot film inside Shepherd's House, but I can take you guys down there when we go drop it off. Due to privacy concerns with the veterans that are there, we do not film that inside. But we are still wanting to get, Jody can put up how much we've gotten donated so far. We still got a ways to go for the Shepherd's House. We want to give them a good Christmas. It's a nonprofit group. A local businessman has been doing this for, gosh, quite a long time, and he takes care of a lot of homeless veterans and helps get them back on their feet. Yeah, go live in the set up the. That is a good idea to think of next year. Take the storage set and set up a Christmas scene inside of it where I can have a space heater in there. That's a good idea, Wyoming girl. Way to be thinking. Way to think outside the box. All right, guys, I'm going to jump off here. I just wanted to bring you that quick live downtown and show you what was going on down there. Make sure you have your notifications on. Hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you guys soon. Peace.